A breaking news update. A woman was set on fire while riding the CTA Blue Line in the Loop around 9:30 last night. Police say the 26-year-old was arguing with a man when he doused her with some sort of liquid and then set it on fire. The train then stopped at the Clark Lake station in the Loop, where that man ran away.
Sitting there by herself, and then all of a sudden I get off the train at the front and I hear a girl scream and I see her run off the train in flames. I seen a group of guys and one girl run toward the exit where there's no orange line. They were bursting out of there. And I go running over to see what's going on. She's already out on the ground just crying, burnt to a crisp.
We have video of the victim after that attack, but it is simply too graphic to show. The woman is now in critical condition. No one's been arrested. Chicago police say arson detectives are investigating.
It began like any other night on the Blue Line. A half-empty train, a quiet car, a lone passenger scrolling on her phone, unaware that someone had stepped aboard with something far more dangerous than a fare card. No one on that train knew what was about to unfold. No warning, no argument, no motive anyone could understand. Just a man, a bottle, and a decision that would shake the entire city. 20 minutes before the attack, surveillance cameras captured a man at a small gas station. He wasn't filling a car. He didn't even have one. Instead, he filled a plastic bottle to the brim with gasoline, paid, and walked away like someone on a mission only he understood. That same bottle would reappear inside a CTA train car, still in his hand. His name, Lawrence Reed. A man whose past was already overflowing with red flags, but none as terrifying as what would happen next.
A woman got into an altercation on a CTA train and was set on fire.
Roseanne is live this morning at Stroger Hospital with the latest on the victim's condition. Roseanne?
Well, we don't yet know who she is. We know she's 26 years old and was brought here to Stroger Hospital in critical condition yesterday evening. Police say this all happened on a CTA Blue Line train at about 9:35. They say that woman was involved in some kind of verbal altercation with a man when he became physical, pouring a liquid on her and igniting it. Police say he took off when the train stopped at Clark and Lake, but the woman collapsed outside the train. She appeared severely burned on her face and parts of her body and was put on a stretcher and taken to an ambulance. Witnesses say it was difficult to see.
I was just seeing her lying on the ground, and she was kind of hyperventilating, in a lot of pain. She was really, you could tell she was really in bad shape, you know. But, all the medics were down there. There was a big corner, like, as far as responders and so forth. But outside of that, that's all they really know. You know.
And once again, she's in critical condition here at Stroger Hospital. We know police are looking for a man believed to be about 45 years old. We don't know whether they have any video or possibly descriptions that they're working on, but we do know that arson detectives are investigating.
Inside the Blue Line car, the woman never saw it coming. Passengers later said the train was unusually silent. One described it as eerily calm, like the moment before a storm breaks. She looked up at the man only once, just long enough to register confusion. Then, without a word, gasoline soaked her clothes. Witnesses say the smell hit the air before the fear did. Then came the spark, a flash of orange, a scream swallowed by the roar of fire. Panic erupted as passengers scrambled away, some in shock, others frozen in place, while she tried desperately to escape. But the nightmare wasn't over.
There is a large emergency response to a report of a fire on the Blue Line near the Clark and Lake stop.
A passenger was badly burned. Our Jermont Terry is live there with the late information we have. Jermont, what have you found?
Well, Joe and Erica, we know right now that the Blue Line is bypassing the LaSalle station here. You can see that there's still that strong police presence. No one can get inside the Clark Street station here, and that has a lot to do with what played out on the train. Witnesses telling us that multiple people smelled some type of fire and or smoke on the plane, on the actual train. It turns out that apparently, according to several witnesses, that someone doused a woman on the plane, on the train, and then seconds later set her on fire. We have seen some video that's just too graphic to show you into our newsroom that shows this woman badly burnt on her head. One witness I just talked to said they saw the woman jump off the train and then people came to her aid as she was apparently on fire. It is unclear at this point why and how this happened, but we do know that woman who was a CTA passenger was taken to a hospital. Again, Blue Line trains are now averting Lake Street here as they try to get this under a situation, but a very serious situation. We will stay on top of this breaking news and have the very latest beginning on the news in the morning.
Federal prosecutors would later reveal something even more horrifying. She did manage to escape the flames once, but Reed followed, cornering her at the far end of the train, blocking her only exit, and setting her on fire again.
The 26-year-old woman's condition has not changed since last night. She is still in critical condition here at Stroger Hospital with burns on more than half of her body, including her face.
Just seen her lying on the ground, and she was kind of hyperventilating, in a lot of pain. She was really, you could tell she was really in bad shape.
Well, we know that this woman was saved by a number of Good Samaritans on the train with her. The police believe that the substance that was used as the accelerant was gasoline.
The Blue Line train was nearing the Clark and Lake Station around 9:45 last night when the woman was set on fire. Chicago police say it started with an argument between the 26-year-old and a man appearing to be in his mid-40s. It's still unclear what that argument was about. Police say the man then poured some sort of liquid on her during the argument and ignited it. And you heard Alderman Riley say that police told him it may have been gasoline. When the train did stop, police say the woman got off and fell to the ground. The suspect took off running. CTA trains and stations have cameras all over them, but so far police have not released any images of the suspect they are looking for. But Alderman Riley says police do have some really good leads.
We're thankful for the technology that we have on the CTA system, especially on the platforms. But again, I'm going to renew my call for putting police officers on these trains, not sitting there sedentary, but walking through them like we do in New York City.
Once again, the 26-year-old woman is in critical condition here at Stroger Hospital.
In custody later, prosecutors say he shouted phrases no one wants to imagine being the last words they hear. The woman survived, but barely. She remains in the hospital, burned, fighting to recover from injuries that changed her life. He would later tell authorities that he said, quote unquote, "burn bitch," and "burn alive bitch," as he cornered the victim the second time and reset her on fire. For investigators, this wasn't a mystery about a suspect who suddenly snapped. This was a story with a long, tangled past. 72 arrests, 14 separate criminal cases, 8 felonies, years bouncing in and out of the system, even a sentencing to mental health probation for a fire he set outside a government building. Over and over, police took him in. Over and over, he walked back out. Just months earlier, he allegedly attacked a social worker at a hospital while being treated as a psychiatric patient. Yet, he was sent home on electronic monitoring, released over strong objections from prosecutors. And now, the question hanging over Chicago, how many signs were too many? When Reed appeared before the U.S. magistrate judge, he didn't ask for a lawyer. He didn't express confusion or fear. He chose to represent himself, calmly flipping through graphic photos from the train's security footage.
Charged in the CTA Blue Line attack is scheduled to return to court later today for a detention hearing.
Judy Wang's at the Dirksen Federal Building with more. Judy?
Lawrence Reed told the judge when he appeared before her earlier in the week that he wanted to represent himself. There were several outbursts by him during that hearing. Federal prosecutors this morning will likely point to Reed's lengthy criminal record and arguing that he should remain in custody until trial. The 50-year-old is charged with committing a terrorist attack against a mass transit system. Judge Laura McNally ordered physical and mental health evaluations ahead of today's detention hearing. Chicago police say Reed poured gasoline on a 26-year-old woman aboard an O'Hare-bound Blue Line train Monday night and set her on fire. She remains in critical condition with severe burns on her face and body. CTA surveillance cameras captured the attack.
Prosecutors asked the judge to keep him behind bars. The judge agreed, but the strangest moment came from Reed himself when he told the court he wanted to stay in custody, that he didn't feel safe outside, that he wanted assurance he would be fed while locked up. It was a request that left the courtroom silent. A man accused of an act so violent asking for protection from the world.
Police have arrested Reed dozens of times in the last 30 years. 4 years ago, he was convicted of trying to set a fire at the old Thompson Center. This past August, police arrested him for hitting a social worker in the face at MacDill Hospital in Berwyn. He was released on electronic monitoring. And Chicago police are investigating whether Reed was connected to last week's attempted arson at City Hall. The mayor sought to reassure riders about safety on board trains.
What Reed allegedly did wasn't just described as arson or assault or attempted murder. Federal prosecutors charged him with an act of terrorism as a mass transportation system, a charge so rare it's never been applied in Chicago before. If convicted, the sentence could mean life behind bars. The city's mayor called the case an isolated incident on the CTA, but not an isolated example of Reed's past behavior. A governor, a mayor, prosecutors, and the public now face the same unsettling question. How did it get this far? Officials now point fingers at everything: the mental health system, the courts, the Safety Act, the revolving door that kept sending Reed back into the world despite red flags big enough to fill a courtroom. Prosecutors argue he had too many chances, too many warnings ignored, too many moments where something could have stopped this. But hindsight doesn't undo the damage. The city waits for answers that won't come quickly, and justice that may come far too late for the victim who now lies in a hospital bed, wondering why she was the one sitting in that seat. Tonight, the Blue Line still runs. Passengers still sit alone with their headphones in, still scroll their phones, still try to trust that the strangers around them just want to get home. But this case leaves a lingering fear. If one man could slip through every crack in the system, what else or who else might be slipping through right now? The investigation continues, the city waits, and the echoes of that night on the Blue Line still burn. Alright y'all, there y'all have it, man. That's the crazy story of the man setting the lady on fire on the Blue Line. Hey man, get in that comment section. Let me know what y'all think. Drillers and trappers, we outside trapping and drilling 247. Don't go nowhere. Watch that next video. Gang!